There you go for trying to multitask at the last second of the countdown to get the tweet out. That's why I do it usually 20 seconds ahead of time. But welcome, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 is here. Come to you live. We're both on YouTube and Twitch tonight. Hope you have fun with us on a really interesting topic that should be very fascinating. I know one that I have been fascinated since watching In Search of in the 70s. When you see that opening screen with Leonard Nimoy's voice there, and you see the big walking monkey. Not the one from Jack's beef jerky, Jack Link's beef jerky. But hey, we're going to talk about the real one tonight. Or is he real, or is he not real? But let me go ahead and bring in our guest of the evening. That's really going to do a lot of our talking, and I'll fill in with some questions. And folks, if you have questions, put them out in the chat, and I'll star them, and we'll get to them as we can. With that, without a further ado, it's the one, the only, the great Alaska man, Jeff, returning again. Hello, Jeff.
Greetings, one and all. Much appreciated for having me on. This is a subject that I am deeply passionate about, and you will understand why before we come to the end of this.
Yeah. Because one of the things is about locations, because, you know, you're Alaska. Obviously, we talked about the geography of Alaska. We talked about the Aleutian Islands, too, and stuff like that. So I'm going to be curious to see how regional wide, or there's things in multiple areas. I can't wait to hit this topic with you, tonight and stuff. What was it, before we talk to chat, just really quickly, what, if you can try to do real quickly, what attracted you to the subject of Bigfoot?
So I grew up with absolutely no understanding about what this creature was. I was basically told that there was stories about weird creatures in the woods, but don't believe any of them because everything's well known. We got bears, we got mountain lions, and you're perfectly safe in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And I had experiences in which I encountered this creature. And it didn't happen once.
Oh,
it's enough to where it shell-shocked me, and I didn't even know what to call the thing because it freaked me out. And for years, I had no idea what it was. I didn't have the internet to be able to search, and we had very curated media in my family's home. So I was left baffled until I heard years and years later that there was such a thing as a Sasquatch. And then I started putting two and two together, and it's like, great Scott, this is exactly what happened. And you'll understand as we go into the story, because I do have some illustrations that are memories from that I finally captured in drawn form, so you can understand what it is that I saw.
Okay.
And you'll understand why there's a bit of mystery still. It's not definitive proof, but it was enough to prove it to me.
Right. I understand firsthand experiences, of course, then, you have everybody, the doubters and skeptics out there. But let's take a look at our doubters and skeptics for the night. Gotta entertain it that way. Because, like I said, feel free to put your questions out there. Hey, this is probably a cousin of one, or somehow a distant relative. Snortopoopas cuber, hello humans and other critters, the polar bear from Pinellas County. Should be interesting with him. Legatus Legionize, welcome in, Legatus. How are you doing? Alaska Jeff saying hello. And Buddy, thank you so much. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. We are now at 732 subscribers. We're 18 away from 750 and a celebration. So let's get there. We're moving up slowly but surely. But it's been a good couple months here. Good to see you, though, buddy. Thank you for the reminder. Strings and Pucks, hey. Well, hopefully we can get to some stuff that you can hear while you're here. And if not, you can always watch the replay later. Be sure to do that. And let's see, the missus. I saw missus in here again. So, yes, there's the missus. Great to see you, sweetie. She said, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well tonight with mom there. Hopefully you'll sit back and enjoy listen to this while mom is sleeping and stuff. And thank you. We're trying to get as many breaks as we can. There's so much craziness these days. So smash that like. Sora Poop said it's been a weird day. So how's Grandma Man walking? And she is sleeping now. Had a long day of therapy with 5 sessions. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. And good for them to get her moving again. But yes, exactly. So, all right, let's see. And yes, thank you for all your prayers and wishes for her and for everybody else. So, lions, tigers, and bears. I'm not sure about that. So, and Buddy said, my dad said, $10 man. Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's what we do. We got a big system to alternate. So, the overnights at least. So, how much longer we don't know. But hey, and thank you, Buddy, the great mod out there, putting Jeff's link out there on the YouTube side. Also, but make sure we get your Twitch uh, uh, handle too. Also, Jeff, at some point tonight. So
Yeah, that
I know you do a lot
either
more
one's
on
fine.
Twitch.
I'm not gonna. Twitch is kind of tapered off a lot, so I don't stress about any of
Okay.
them. But it's Alaska Man Jeff across all of them.
Okay. I love it when that can happen when it's the same thing. I call it one stop shopping. Mrs. is like jealous. She's like, I can't do that. She's like Twitch doesn't deal with the period or something, and it's like so she's got to be one thing on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube. It's like three different. And she's like, anyway. Well, let's get started now, shall we? Jeff, where do you want to start with this? With the wait a second. Okay, wait a second. I don't do political memes. Okay, I don't do political stuff. But this one, we're going to throw a few memes in here tonight in honor of the missus. But let's see. I did not have time to get these pulled aside. And hold on a second. I got to take this call. Jeff, where do you want to start with this tonight? Tell everybody a little bit.
All right. So first off, folks, I would like to ask who here actually doubts that there is a Sasquatch or any sort of variation, whether it's a skunk ape, a yeti, things like that. Who has a doubt and doesn't quite understand what the whole big to-do is? Because I think that's kind of an important thing to begin with. And so if anybody has heard the stories and thought, oh, that's just a bunch of ridiculous nonsense that people have been spewing, it kind of helps to understand where we all are coming from. For me, I came at this story from absolutely no background whatsoever. I had no stories to be able to lean upon. I didn't even have the faintest idea that there was such a thing. And so for me, it left me with a lot of confusion for quite a while until I got to hear the other stories. I was finally able to piece things together.
Yeah, it's interesting how that goes. And see, Stranger Puck says, I don't know, but either don't rule it out, but he's not well educated. But Buddy, let's see, what the comment just disappeared on me, I think. Anyway, sorry, I thought I saw something. You know what? That's what happened. Never mind. I think I'm dreaming things up. My bad. Sorry about that for cutting off. And I saw a comment, and I'm like,
no worries.
It was like, what happened? Anyway, by the way, we are live, Mrs. Everything's good there, so we're cool. But like I said,
like for you, what's your background with hearing about this creature, either in stories or whatnot?
Well, the first time was, like I said, it was the good old 70s show In Search Of, where they search for Loch Ness Monster, Sasquatch, stuff like that. And that's really the first time I was introduced to it, but that's been about it. Down here in the Southeast, it's not a big thing. You don't get it. So I really don't get much in the way of information on it. So it's hard to get into it. I know some people in the Pacific Northwest I wanted to talk to about it, but it didn't work out. But but then again, I also have heard relayed though that some people like to talk the subject, but if you're not careful, you can get ostracized. You can get put off in a kook category or something else. It's kind of like a lot of the UFO chasing and stuff like that. And it's just, I think it's one of those things without conclusive proof that it's easy to push off in a conspiracy theory or something else that, but eyewitness account, firsthand experience is a big thing. And I know like with UFOs, a big thing is, well, you didn't get the videotape. Well, sometimes things happen, But like I said, as I wanted to hit this, I don't do politics, so we all can let this sit where it goes. But we got to throw a few memes in for the misses out here. But I can't hear. I can't help but this one. I am more believable than 81 million votes. Sorry. Sorry. I'm not political, but I'm glad for that reaction, Jeff. That was awesome. I'm glad I showed that one. Oh, well, listen, I'm really going to threaten the gods of YouTube after that. He is. Yeah. I'm going to threaten the gods of YouTube with this one now because everybody's favorite of 2020 social distancing world champion. Yeah, holy crap. Yes, I know. I did it. Yes, I did it. I did it.
By the way, when we come to the end of the stream, you're going to realize that he's not actually social distancing as much as he probably should.
Yes, exactly. I mean, get away from this crazy people. So, oh gosh. Oh, Snorter Poops, I don't rule it out. I've seen a few weird things, mostly when I get near top of the world.
Hey, he's got his own mysterious cryptids up there.
Hey, do you know what happened with top of the world is we did one of our Where in the U.S. and it was Florida. Obviously, was the answer. It was a 77-year-old woman backed her SUV into an 87-year-old woman on the riding carts in a Sam's Club, hit her, and then just ran off, drove off. And Snorter Poo was like, I said something, and he's like, "Is that the Sam's Club, blah?" And he got the address of that, right? And I'm like, I looked at this report. Yeah, that's the club. And he's like, the lady living at top of the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was top of the world. So Snorter Poopus has had experience with the elderly ladies at top of the world.
Probably witnessed it.
I don't know. It's something. It's bad enough when I get psyched out about the states, but then somebody actually guesses the exact location where something happened. Well, Mrs. makes a good point. Doesn't he get
brownie points for that?
Absolutely, he does. He's the bear of all bears. So. But like Mr. said, I think there's so much that we're not aware of on this planet. See, I think there's we assume everything's extinct, no dinosaurs. There's so many things that are, but there's so many parts of the world that are not explored where some of these things could remain, deserted, not necessarily all the deserted areas, but you could be, sparsely populated areas too, because look how hard it is to find people in a forest that get missing, and you're looking for them. So, but yeah, I do think, especially like with dinosaurs, the same type of topic there. We say that they're all extinct, but there may be technical type of dinosaurs that could be that we just haven't found them where they are. It's a big planet, or the depths of the ocean we can't go. And I'm not talking about the Megalodon shark movie that was just. I watched both of them. I did because I like to watch stuff. So, anyway. Oh, yeah, Florida man has overtaken Bigfoot for sightings in the wild. Yes, exactly. That's true. Florida man is big, and Snort loves his brownies, so make sure you give him the brownies that he wants. So, oh, yeah, it's really, really, really cool. Thank y'all for being here. Oh, here's one more here, and we're going to turn it over to you, Jeff, to start. Here, he's probably denial. No, Bigfoot's my cousin.
That's some pretty big hindquarters there.
Yeah, kind of, very much so. Oh man! By the way, did you ever see Cocaine Bear?
No, I avoided that one.
It's actually the CGI was better than the Flash movie of the same year. Mrs. will tell you we surprisingly liked it. It doubled down on the stupid in the graphics, and it was like. It just was. It was a stupid, funny movie. But if you don't like stupid, funny movies, I definitely can understand. So don't be hating on the Meg. Oh no, and they may have a dinosaur. Oh wow, dinosaur. That would be interesting. I know they had
rumors.
They've also in the legends of the knights, the kings over there in Scotland, UK, all that. Look at all the legends and the tapestries and the So
By the way, they have found some weird teeth in Scotland. Very large teeth, predator teeth, and they're not fossilized. And it's left a lot of questions because it looks reptilian.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So, and yes, that's a big rump roast. All right, Jeff. Well, let me go ahead and let me bring up the the case for Sasquatch. What is myth and what is real? Okay, Jeff, go ahead.
So I'm glad we got a chance to mention about some of the beliefs people have about the creature. And it seems like most people these days are open-minded to the fact that Bigfoot might actually exist. Um, when I was in college and I started piecing two and two together, um, that was very hard to get people to say that. If you mention anything about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, you just got laughed at. Like, oh, you're one of those stupid people that probably also thinks the world is flat and the earth is hollow, or how can you have it hollow and flat at the same time? Anyway, there's some funny people out there. They just immediately throw you into a category and say you were crazy for that. Doesn't help that our culture has leaned into the mockery. We've made Bigfoot a brand, kind of similar how Europe and Asia have dragons, goblins, and fairies. And I don't want people to overlook this fact. We have trivialized Sasquatch to the point of where now people think of it almost like being part of a sports team. They get excited when they see it, and so they say, oh, does it exist? Oh, yeah, of course it exists. But they don't actually believe it. If you were to actually put them down, interrogate them, they would say, no, I don't actually believe that. Those are the crazy people that think that.
Nice.
Big Day in the Woods. Excuse me, would you like me to take that for you so you can be in it?
Jeez. Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of
The
trivializing
aliens,
things.
that's two of them in one. By the way, on that previous one, the one that had the Sasquatch laying down with the raccoon up there, I saw that in all the memes I was looking for earlier. It's a popular image.
It's a goofy one, all right.
Yeah.
But it is amazing to me. There's a place just down the street from me. When we first drove by it, we look over and we see this silhouette in the trees looking out at us. And it looks like a Sasquatch. And we had to do a double take. Someone had put a wooden cutout in the woods and has been there ever since. So it's been there for like 8 years now. But it took us all by surprise when it first appeared.
Come on, Snort. You don't believe in raccoons? Come on. You're in Florida. The trash can bandits. The trash pandas. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff. Yeah.
It is not helped by the fact that a lot of people are, first off, disconnected through technology, and we're not paying attention like we used to. And we've also lumped Bigfoot into portals and UFOs. Thanks, Coast to Coast AM, for taking an animal and trying to make a mythology about it, a modern mythology.
Oh gosh, that brings back memories for the Mrs. Coast to Coast Art Bell and late night radio when I had it turned on, and she finally said, "You got to turn that stuff off," because we were convinced that aliens were landing and everything else. So, but yeah, she can get the Bigfoot cutouts in lots of places.
Absolutely. I've thought about getting one. And in fact, I had a relative get me a painting of Bigfoot that says Guardian of the North, and it's hanging up on my wall just outside of camera. And I find it comical. I like the painting, but at the same time, I know that there's a lot more truth behind it. And so while they make it like happy-go-lucky, fun-looking, it's not anything close to what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the problems of the modern day is we have been looking for answers to mysteries, and we have created modern mythologies to the point of where it's made the subject no longer taboo. It has made it now trendy. So trying to get the truth out there is very, very hard. And I cringe whenever I see people that start taking Bigfoot to portals. That's like people back in the olden days deciding that they were going to have the giant squid as being an alien that got dropped into the ocean, because obviously sailors don't actually see those things. So if they have to appear then disappear again and it's aliens. By the way, that was a theory I heard back before they found that giant squid actually are real.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Ridiculous. Within our lifetime, they found giant squid. It was considered fake. It was considered mythology up until, what was it, the 1990s, early 2000s, that they finally got a photograph of it.
Well, that's like we still say to this day, there's still parts of the world that have not been searched or seen, or depths of the ocean. Yeah, exactly. So always learning new things.
Well, now we have another problem. It's become so trendy. There are fakers everywhere. And the one on the lower left is one I've been hearing a lot of people saying, oh, look, it's a perfect photo of a Sasquatch. It's videotape, and he's just kind of observing the cameraman. That's about as fake as I can imagine. Like, I've seen the footage. It looks fake beyond fake. It looks so wooden.
But you know what's so interesting is sometimes that they can, if you don't know that well, if you can't tell, it's easy to sucker in for it. Like the photo of Nessie and sort of things. Like, it's really easy to believe, because I know one of the things, they had an alien that looked like a real picture, but it was really thin, because like I said, the missus said, totally freaked her out, and Snorter Poopa said, I think half the callers were drunk and disagreed. Yes. But they sounded so serious, and they were like, we believe it. And I'm like, that's the thing is, you have to approach it with a questioning mind or skeptical mind. But I think in some ways, parts of us want to believe this stuff is real. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem of not falling for a fake in the desire to want something to be true.
Doesn't help that a lot of people, when they go out into the woods, this is not I won't say this is the most common thing, but I have noticed a lot of stories usually involve excessive amounts of alcohol, or they went out into the woods to experiment with drugs so no one would catch them. And then they have these fantastical experiences, like, yeah, was it the experience, or did you have a drug high?
Well, see, and that's the thing is, and then it starts to call into question the accounts and everything else, and then it's all that point you start to undercut the credibility, and then everything is doubted. Buddy likes the Weekend Church with George Knapp the most. I remember George Knapp. Remember George Norrie for the Ghost of Ghosts? Yeah. Oh yeah. It's 3 a.m. and the bar just closed. I think I'll call our bell. Come on. Oh my. Yeah.
It's goofy.
Yep, absolutely. And see, that's you pointing out something, that's question it. Kind of the opposite of what you would want. You want stuff to prove your case, but at that point you're pointing at something people allege is true, that you can see the fake in it, and not to use it to support your case, though.
Well, one of the problems with all these fakers is that as a consequence, it's gotten a lot easier to mock people that have an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
let me say hi to Lemon Pie. Hello, Citrus. Hello, Bigfoot hunting fruitcakes. I love the way he spells fruitcakes. But I just know he's laughing at this. The Snorter Poop is going to be that art with the gator on it. That says Florida.
That's the real Florida man.
Yep.
But, there's actually legends that are akin to this. Now, Grant, he's not going to be wielding a pistol in his hand, and not going to be riding a gator. But there are other stories where they seem to have a next level intelligence that really has left this creature is very tough to just write off as an animal or a wild man or an alien. I can understand why there's confusion, but rather than lean into the confusion, we're going to be taking apart some of these different things so we can understand what the real truth is behind this. Mm-hmm. Because the evidence is there. And some people see evidence and they say, oh, this is proof. Some people look at it and say it isn't proof. I have noticed the trend starting to change. the guy on the upper left is somebody who said that he thinks that he actually has found legit casts of legit footprints that he's been able to take casts of, saying that there's no way you could create this other than an organic creature.
Mm-hmm.
Other people look at it and they say, oh, look, see, that guy's wanting to get clout. And so obviously he's a liar. We have to discount him for it. And then they'll say, what people are really seeing is a bear standing on its hind legs. Yeah, people have been in the woods for most of their life, seeing a bear and thinking that is a big hairy man.
Right. It shouldn't. It's not even close. You know.
I mean, you look so cuddly.
Yeah.
He just wants to maul you to death.
Well, that's why Snort a Poop is always offering free hugs to everybody out there. So, not getting any takers, but yeah. Oh, by the way, real quick, I got breaking news on something. For Buddy Hepburn, we have footage of it. I was gonna take that down. We got finally met Bigfoot, and he let me take a selfie with him. Haters will say it's fake. There's your $6 million man. I found that one, so it's like
that's good.
Yeah. Oh, no hugs, only shrugs. There you go. Oh, Snort a Poop is very affectionate. Yes, he's always chasing the women off from his fur.
There's a lot of people that are seeing evidence and they will just write it off as something else. But there's a lot of anomalies to the point of where now researchers are starting to admit it may not be Bigfoot, but we know there's something off. Mm-hmm. Well, at least it's a little bit closer to what I would like them to say.
Yeah.
Have you seen the photo in the top left?
No, I've not. But it almost looks like an orangutan or more of an ape monkey more than what I would consider a Sasquatch, though.
That's what people claim is a skunk ape, which leaves a lot of questions. And that is apparently one of the best photos. I've seen the other photos associated with it. It's compelling. I won't say it's definitive proof, but every time people have tried to discount it, it's like there's something. It seems like it actually might be more real than not. Well, legends across the world have this big hairy man in certain regions, of which this right here is a piece of artwork from Tibet. And so there's all sorts of artifacts in Tibet, in the Himalayas, where you get the stories of the Yeti.
Right. And Disney went in on it on this Animal Kingdom ride. I can't even remember the name of it, but they did. They invoked the
Expedition
Yeti.
Everest.
Yes, Everest, and the whole pre-show, the walkthrough is Himalaya, Tibet, all that, including in with the mythology. Of course, the animatronic broke early, and they never fixed it. But they did. They called back to that legend. Yeah.
Well, one of the interesting things is that across the world there are monkeys and apes everywhere, except in the area that is tinted blue. And no, Antarctica does not count.
Oh.
The area that is outlined in blue is the region that there are no apes or monkeys, but there are legends of large hairy men in every one of these locations. Yes, even the British Isles at one point had some legends, although those ones were kind of short-lived. There's also legends in South America, but I didn't want to highlight every last little area. There's been stories. This is like the generality. There seems to be a barrier.
Right. You can make the case, and you understand that it's difficult to attribute the sightings in the Pacific Northwest to just a monkey or an ape when they're not native to the region.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, it does leave a lot of questions. There's cats on every inch of this planet. There are mice on every inch of this planet. There's dogs everywhere. There's turtles everywhere. Why could it not be that an ape would be able to live everywhere? I mean, it's a fairly cunning, smart creature. And America seems to be perfect for it, as does a lot of Asia and Europe. But it's not there. Or maybe it is. And if so, this might be the creature. The one thing I will say is that the reports, though, is part of what makes people very hesitant to want to acknowledge this creature.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is actually very brutal. In every culture, this creature can be docile, and in every culture, it can go on a rampage. And when it does go on rampages, not people are basically given a death sentence for that. That's what it feels like for these people. So to acknowledge the creature is very scary for them.
Mm-hmm.
Himalayas acknowledge it. Their culture still acknowledges it. A lot of Native American tribes still acknowledge that this creature exists, and they have it in their artwork.
Yeah, Mrs. is talking about with even ancient artwork. I know, like in the UK and the British Isles with the dragons, you see all the dragons in there. We see even the Egyptians with the cats and just so many different things. I know probably the biggest connection is in the British Isles with the connection to the dragons. And you sort of wonder, are there still dinosaurs still there? Were there dinosaurs there at that point because it was so common in that artwork? I mean, why would they make up a creature that didn't exist? And like she said, so many countries show the creatures, it's hard to believe that there's no truth to them.
Indeed, indeed. Well, one of the interesting things about this is that the encounters are.
Oh, and hey, Fallout Dave, good to see you tonight. Sorry. Hey, Fallout Dave. Yeah, we're talking Bigfoot. We got a good topic tonight. We're doing something different. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Question answered. Snort had a question. Has anyone ever reported a Bigfoot attacking them? I guess you can't. I guess you answered that in there.
Yes, there has been many reports of it, and some of them are so freaky to people it causes them to abandon their homes, to
It's like some of the ghost stories. Yeah, it's kind of like some of the ghost stories that that they're so traumatized and freaked out they just leave everything, do not go back. Yeah, because you can be so terrified to that point you don't even want to look back at what happened.
Unfortunately, some of the stories very much like there's some stories where I can believe them a little bit better than others. If it's something like, oh well, there was this creature, and suddenly these men in black showed up and said, "Don't you talk about this creature?" And then they cased the area, and I tried to intervene, but they wouldn't allow me to. I'm less likely to believe that one, but I'm more likely to believe somebody who is very defensive of their property, and they suddenly start barricading things and waging a war with this creature in the woods.
You said barricading.
Yeah.
Sorry. You said barricading. Sorry, sorry about that. Don't want to poop us for you. But yeah. Sorry. I hope I didn't throw your rhythm off there. But go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Always, feel free to interject as much as you want. This is supposed to be a discussion point. So if you see something that's like, I want to know more about this, feel free to kind of mention it.
Yeah, and folks, like I said, put your questions and comments in the chats, and we'll get to them as we can. So, okay, go ahead,
This
Jeff.
is a creature, though, that has had some fantastical stories about things that have happened. Unfortunately, a lot of them end in a pretty bad way. Now, granted, there are some people that discount any of the attacks and say it doesn't happen. I can understand why they want to say that. I beg to differ. We can't go into all of the reasons as to why, because that would take hours to try and dismantle it. But just know this, that the creature is indeed very large. It has kind of a psychological warfare it will wage against people using sounds, throwing objects. It learns people's patterns and will try and imitate them just to offset them. Some people claim that they're experiencing ghost encounters because they'll see things moving around, and then one day they will see a big hairy creature actually doing the things that they were attributing to a ghost. And so suddenly it makes the threat very real, and it's no longer theoretical or spiritual. It becomes something where it's flesh and blood, and that freaks people out.
Yeah. By the way, Mrs. asked, do you think some of the attacks are attributed to bears, not Bigfoot?
No. I think that there's the occasion that can happen. Believe me, when there is some pretty telltale signs, and we're actually going to cover that.
Okay.
Because I actually thought at first it was a bear, and there's a very clear reason why I suddenly changed my mind on it.
Okay. All right, that'd be interesting.
Imagine
Okay.
this.
Hmm.
You get attacked by a creature that stands the height of an elephant. It has wicked intelligence and a strength that you just cannot match. This is a creature that is kind of like the perfect predator, which, again, one of the reasons why it scares people so much.
Hmm.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility. There's actually a case to be made that the Sasquatch is akin to the tiger of the cat world. Sasquatch is to the ape world. Most apes are family oriented, tigers are not.
Hmm.
Most apes are going to be kind of opportunists. Tigers are very aggressive. They're king predators. There's a lot of different things about these creatures that the more I think about it, the more I think that, tigers are large. Sasquatch is large. They both have a vindictive side to them, which, by the way, there's some terrifying stories about tigers. I never want to come across one in the wild,
Right. Yeah.
because they will hunt people for
Oh,
days.
I wish
They will.
Sashi was here. If Sashi was here, because he's in Malaysia, they know about the tigers there. Because he's talked about how
Mm,
they live up off the ground to stay away from the predators, like the tigers. I think was one he mentioned specifically. Don't know, but yeah, it's. Could you imagine having a creature like that just hunting you down? That's
there's a guy
insane.
that the report goes that he shot at a tiger and missed and hit it in the ear. 3 days later, he calls somebody and says he hears a creature outside, and he was attacked by a tiger the following day. And people put two and two together, and they realized that it was probably the exact same tiger and had followed him for dozens of miles just in order to find where he was and strike back. Now, stories like that are fantastical, and you don't know if it's true or not necessarily, but
Hmm.
it is something that makes you respect the creatures and think, you know what? If there is something going on there, I don't want to necessarily risk it. Same thing with Sasquatch. You don't really want to risk it with that creature. There's a lot to believe that it really is as dangerous as people say,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Yeah,
not without cause. Um,
absolutely.
Bigfoot attacks are recorded all the way back into ancient history. Native American cultures have taught that the Sasquatch is very dangerous. Some of them claim to have waged war with it. Um, we have modern disappearances that happen, and some of them seem very suspicious to that it might be related to a Sasquatch. And we had miners and trappers that would report that there's these large, hairy creatures that would attack them. And some of them have been discounted, but there's a lot of them that we have to just ask. Maybe there really is something going on here.
It can't all be coincidences. At some point, the coincidences, have to have some kind of an explanation.
Absolutely.
And hello, Simply Steve. Good to see you tonight. How are you doing, Steve? Good to see you too. And Mrs. said, I don't need the story to respect either tiger or Sasquatch. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
100% there. The Americas are known for giants. Maybe you've heard this term before, but people in the old world actually refer to North America as a land where everything is big, everything is giant. Our
Mm-hmm.
bears are big, our mountains are big, our rivers are big, our canyons are big.
Well,
Everything is just
even if you
gigantic.
even if you take biblical accounts, take something from the Bible, there were giants. There were, I mean, we have
Hmm.
Goliath. We have known cases or documented cases of people of abnormal size, that are larger than than an average human, and there is so much. Back to the previous accounts in history of these people or these things that exist, which make it hard to just say it's impossible that they're still around.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, history, I look through history and say, you know what, there's got to be something to all these stories. And this is when I really started to think that there really was a creature, because I heard actually in class a story about Daniel Boone and how he shot a creature that he called, what was it? The Yehu. The
Hmm.
Yehu was a large creature that he didn't really know what it was, but it looked like it was a creature that was found in Gulliver's Travels, and so he named it the Yehu after the creature in the story. He said the smell stunk to high heaven, and after he shot it, he just had to leave it in the woods because it just was too foul for him to be able to work with.
Wow.
That was the first time I heard about it, and I thought,
Hmm.
oh, wait a minute, they don't know what it was? And it got me confused. And I thought, how could we not know? How could nobody have documented this? And I noticed there was a lot of strange circumstances throughout history that seems to be so very coincidental that in the world of science, we can just write it off as if nothing happened. Magellan, when he was traveling the world, he claimed to have seen 10-foot tall giants in Patagonia. The descriptions, though, are kind of weird. There's some that seem to suggest that they were hairy. There's some to suggest that they were not. Yeah, they were just well
Hmm.
clothed.
Right.
There's stories of Native American hunters that would encounter this creature. They made masks of them and totem poles with these creatures carved into them, with very strange facial structures that you do not find in any other type of animal other than an ape. And then we see cave drawings that really do look suspicious. And sure, it's hard to tell what they are, but when you compare it to other creatures, and then you're like, there's something there. People back in the olden days knew what it was. We just don't understand now.
Right. I'm not sure about this. Steve said giant skeletons were destroyed by the Smithsonian. Uh,
I've heard those stories. I don't know where I fall on that because I
uh,
can't prove it one way or the other.
yeah.
But I do know that there have been giants throughout history. They're just
Hmm.
not as big as our mythologies sometimes make them out to be.
Right.
Like if you compare it,
Mythology. Yeah. Mythology can inflate something very easily if you're not careful.
I
Yeah.
think the world's tallest man stands at, what was it, 11 feet or something like that.
Whoa.
And that
Wow.
is a man living within our lifetime. But he was very gangly, very weak by
Yeah.
comparison to what you would
The
expect.
University of Florida has a basketball player coming in 7 foot 9 inches tall, and yeah, he's very gangly. He's very thin, very not a lot of muscle to him and stuff like that. So
What made someone like Goliath so terrifying is that he wasn't just big, he was muscular.
mhm.
And so, yeah, so things do get big throughout history. And the question
No,
is it a genetic thing? Because technically, Vikings were considered giants because they stood ahead or taller over top of everyone else they fought against. Imagine this big battle axe wielding warrior that climbs off of a ship that he refuses to let slaves row. He wants to row it himself. And
mhm.
so he's beefy beyond belief. He just picks you up and throws you off the edge of a building is like it's nothing.
Oh yeah,
That was considered a giant.
yeah.
But when it comes to a creature, it becomes a lot more unsettling because you realize this thing's big and it has the strength of an animal, which is
Right.
way stronger than a person.
By the way, I'm noticing the picture on the right. I think is that famous photograph that was used in search of. And what is this on the left though?
Totem pole.
A totem pole. Okay.
By the way, look at the face. And yes, it is female, which, by the way, the Patterson footage on the right was also designated to be female. And someone looked at the proportions and they thought, that's really weird. Why would it be in that sort of way? Well, when you compare it to the totem pole, it's like, wait a minute, there's actually some similarities. So, anyway,
Mhm.
it is interesting that people throughout history have made illustrations of this. And only recently have we called it a myth.
Hmm. Okay.
if you look in the animal kingdom, there's some interesting options when we're looking for references to what it could actually be. And we have gorillas, we have orangutans, and we have chimpanzees. Which one of them looks human-like? Well, it's kind of none, which, by the way, that's one of the things people keep saying about Sasquatch, is that it looks human.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because they've done the DNA studies. They've done the DNA studies because a lot of evolutionists put monkeys to man and stuff, but there's so little similarity in the DNA between humans and monkeys.
Exactly.
When they've done it.
Exactly. But here's another creature that was thought to be human-like, kind of similar to how people describe Sasquatch. Gorillas. They were myth until the 1900s, until scientists finally said, beyond a shadow of a doubt, these things exist. Until then, they were considered wild, hairy men that lived in the jungle or in the mountains, and they come down, steal kids and women, and carry them off into the wilderness. Strength beyond compare. They could bend rifles like it was nothing. And then we realize, they're actually not that dangerous, and they keep to themselves, and they actually have a bit of a kind of a passive outlook on people. They're not hunting us. And so then it made all those legends seem kind of silly by comparison. Poor Harambe.
Yeah, poor Harambe. Yep. Deserved a better future.
Orangutans are another story, though. They're also fairly peaceful, but they are wicked smart. And they are big. We don't even know how big orangutans get. Compare that to that woman right there. That ape right there is probably about 5'8", 6 feet tall. I've seen a photo where they think that the orangutan is probably around 7 feet. That's almost Bigfoot size. But their feet are all wrong, and so it couldn't be that. Well, there is one creature, though, in that family line that of the ape kind that is dangerous, and that is chimpanzees. I hate these creatures with a passion. They are fascinating, but I would never want to be around them.
Right.
When I think of Bigfoot, I think of its temperament being somewhere between an orangutan and this creature, based upon the stories. But there is a creature in the fossil record that actually is the size of Bigfoot. So it's scientists themselves admitted it. And they're like, oh, there's this giant creature. It was in Southeast Asia, and it seems to fit the proportions of a very large ape. But they won't say Sasquatch. They'll just say, oh, it's a large ape-like creature. That pretty well looks like the size of a Sasquatch, though.
Yeah. No.
They found a jawbone in teeth, and they're able to reconstruct what the height of this creature is. And like, oh, this thing was big, 3 meters tall. Oh, but Bigfoot doesn't exist.
Oh, hello, File 13. Hey, welcome. 100 men against one Bigfoot. Who wins? Go.
Depends on how the men are armed. If it's with their bare hands, weapons. They're dying.
Yeah.
No, Bigfoot will win every time.
Good to have everybody here. We got 12 people here watching. Make sure you hit 11 on the YouTube side. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure share out the stream. We're trying to get to 750 subs. We're at 732 now. Make sure you're still subbed because YouTube's games and stuff. We've got Alaska Jeff here talking. We're still in the intro part of the discussion about Bigfoot. So feel free to put your questions in, and we'll keep going. Okay, Jeff, go ahead.
Yep. So Bigfoot's not considered real, but Gigantopithecus, which potentially stood taller, was real. So it's like, wait a minute. Science, you say it's impossible, and yet you still say that this thing did at least exist. But no, this is the thing that's not real. The one that we have photos of. Not the creature that we have but we take the bones of a creature that we have no idea what its scale is, and we say that's real. AI has not helped the matter. It is going
I
to
was
get
going to
very
ask you
hard to
about,
prove it.
yeah, yeah, AI. I mean, it was bad enough, like I said back in 2000, that one photo about the lizard alien that he did. It truly looked really good for the time, and that's predate AI and everything else. But yeah, I mean, because I know you personally have a lot of problems with AI. You've argued against AI, and it's these type of cases where AI will, be, really even more difficult to determine what's fake, what's fact.
There was a video that came out. Thankfully, it got taken down, but it was very hard to tell that it was fake. And that was
Hmm.
for me like framing through it, trying to find out whether it was fake or not. It was one where somebody had refined it to the point of where it was near impossible. But it finally got found out that it was AI, and thankfully it was taken down. But
Hmm.
in our culture's psyche, we don't believe it anymore. No one's going to believe it unless, especially in the scientific community, no one is going to believe it until we have a body, and that
Right.
is going to make it very tough.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, that's actually, and I think I kind of touched on it from the biblical standpoint about the Nephilim. The giant skeletons were found later moved from knowledge. Because that's the thing is we find in history, we have knowledge and then it conveniently gets destroyed or buried, either accidentally or oftentimes intentionally.
Exactly. Which, by the way, some of those Nephilim of biblical record, if our measurements are correct, some of them got to staggering sizes. It makes Goliath look like an infant by comparison. So
Right.
that stuff just doesn't disappear entirely. If there are bones, maybe they just wrote it off as something else. And so they removed them from the category of potential giants and said, oh, well, it's obviously a dinosaur bone. We just can't figure it out. It's very hard to put
Yeah.
the DNA together of something that has turned into rock.
Well, scientists love to guess too.
Yes, indeed. Well, we're at the tail end of this part. And so,
Okay.
thus, we have to ask the question, why are educated people so resistant to acknowledge Sasquatch? I've been toying with this, trying to figure out why. Because within our lifetime, two creatures have been discovered: the coelacanth and the giant squid. Both of them throw a wrench in the scientific community and makes a lot of them look very silly. And a lot of people of knowledge hate being shown up. A lot of money was spent doing research into stuff. Well, suddenly you had all of your work, your legacy destroyed in a moment. I wonder how much of it is that. But there's
Hmm.
something else. I put the megalodon jaw down there. There has been an increased number of megalodon sightings in recent years. There's been teeth showing up that are not fossilized. And there's some footage that has come out, which is very suggestive that this creature is indeed real and still alive. I showed this footage to a researcher, someone who works in marine biology. That researcher, when they saw the footage, rather than just say, "Oh, that's obviously fake," their eyes got wide and they said, "That can't be real," and they started to panic, hyperventilating just by
Mm.
seeing the video. I was
Wow.
like, "That's weird." I mean, it's a fish, right? What's the big deal? If that thing's real, I'm not going anywhere near the water. This thing doesn't attack boats, obviously. I mean, otherwise everyone would know about it. But it was just the potential to be afraid. I think it's partially because our world has become so full of this idea that every creature is a monster that we don't want it to be real.
Hmm.
Which makes me wonder if that might be happening with Sasquatch. I mean, if you knew that this thing had the cunning and cruelty of a chimp, and it's out there in the woods and it sees human beings going by and thinks that, hey, a kid is a good way to get at these people. I mean, you can understand why people wouldn't want to know about that. But at the same time, I'm somebody who wants to know because I don't want to take unnecessary risks.
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, never go camping without having somebody keeping watch. That was a rule up until recent times. We need to start doing that again, folks.
Interesting. And Foul 13 said he Israel saw a movie in the 80s about a family that helped one. Not sure what name. If you remember the name, let us know. Jeff might be able to look that up sometime. And hello, Pacific Northwest Sounds. He said, "You bet your ass there's something here in the deep dark woods of my Pacific Northwest." Well, greetings and salutations and welcome tonight. We are having a chill out with Alaska Jeff, who's obviously in Alaska, talking about this in the great outdoors and this, myth, real, whatever you think it'd be. So thanks for being here with us tonight. We normally do all kinds of other different stuff, from sports to Fortnite and all kinds of different. This channel is more of a cornucopia of things, but like occasionally we will put our feet into the waters of the unknown and a bigger, more widespread discussion like tonight. Jeff has always got great presentations, but thank you, Pacific Northwest, for being here with us tonight. We appreciate it. Yeah, and he's also saying it's not a chimp, like it's something phasing in the dimension, this timeline or dimension or timeline. Strings and Puck said his dad swore something huge swam under his boat on the lake of Michigan for about 30 minutes. That was bigger than his boat. So, and then of course Snort doubles down on the 50-year of anniversary of Jaws. Don't need a big old boat. Oh, Mrs. Harry and the Hendersons. Yes. That's the movie that helped everybody. So let's see. Yep. Let's see where we are. Let's see. Oh yeah, I gotta go over this Twitch real quick. But yeah. But no, I appreciate everybody tonight. Oh, and here she is, Jess. Oh, you will need a poll whether we're tangent too much. I don't know. I think we're doing a good job staying on topic tonight, Jess. I think this one is we've been pretty good with it. I think unless the chat gives us some other questions, feel free to put your questions or comments in there. We will highlight them for everybody. Great to see Jess with us tonight. Jess, we will get back to our Fortnites one day, hopefully soon. So we appreciate it. And Pacific Northwest said the Creature from Boggy Creek was the late 70s movie. Okay.
Yeah, I saw appreciate the second one. I didn't see the first one.
Is that something that you talked about on that other show? Is that what stirred that? Okay. Because I remember now hearing about Boggy Creek. When I think Boggy Creek, I think of Orlando and Disney World, but I think that's Bonnet Creek. Anyway, my creeks are running together. But go ahead. But so there's a movie about Boggy Creek.
All end up in the ocean anyway.
Okay, there you go. That's two. Yeah, Snort says the squirrels are lonely tonight. Well, it's Sasquatch's night tonight. So, but yeah, the movie from Boggy Creek. Could you mention that on that stream? How does that? I mean, we don't have to go far into that, but how did that tie into this topic?
Well, Boggy Creek is known for having an ape-like creature that is more akin to maybe a skunk ape than an actual Sasquatch, which I think that there is a subspecies of them, which is a little bit smaller. But a lot of oddities happened down there, and the town leaned into it, and they kind of wanted to get off the hype, and so they made 2 movies about it. I think they made a third one. And it was interesting because it was a side of the story that I had not heard of before. And so shout out to After the Weekend for kind of organizing that. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting discussion point, and we got to hear some stories related to what people had encountered over there. And it seems to be a lot more kind of, I won't say dangerous. It'll be more of maybe a creature that likes to tease people, take advantage of them, and kind of mess with them. I think the Sasquatch is a bit more dangerous by comparison.
Oh, absolutely. I think anything of that size, that power, you have to take seriously as a threat.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the other part. If Sasquatch is acknowledged by a research community, that opens up a Pandora's box of creatures that they're going to have to start taking seriously. Now, I don't think most cryptids are real. I think a lot of them are hallucinations. Okay,
help me identify, what is the word cryptid mean? What does that mean?
So basically, the name has morphed. Up until recently, it kind of it was a creature that people had seen sightings of, but nobody could prove just yet. They were waiting for science to catch up and capture one so they could investigate it and say, yes, for it is indeed true. This thing does actually exist. Unfortunately, now it has kind of taken on the aspect of monster. I
Okay.
blame media for doing that. Now you see monsters, you see aliens. It now encompasses everything, and it's made a lot of problems. So
Yeah.
up here we have another cryptid called the Iliamna monster, and it's kind of similar to an Alaskan version of the Loch Ness monster.
Mm.
We now think of it as, oh, it's mythology, it's a monster. We don't think of it as a cryptid, even though there's some people that want to think that it actually might be a cryptid. The name's gotten watered down. But so acknowledging Sasquatch would suddenly open Pandora's box for a lot of these things. And I think our scientific community doesn't really want to have that, which is understandable. You don't want to have people start claiming that Mothman is a real creature, or that the rake is real. But I can understand why people would have to start taking that stuff into consideration, start contemplating that it might actually have some truth. It might not be exactly as the myth says. I think that Dogman might actually be real, but I don't think it's an actual Dogman. So you have mysteries like that people will have to reevaluate.
Well, one thing scientists do not like to speculate about the unknown. They don't get they're comfortable with staying with what they know and they see, and even denying it sometimes. But yeah, it's okay. Well, I appreciate you giving some background on that term, because I'm not familiar with the term, and just in case anybody else may not have been familiar with that. Wow, all spread all throughout the country. Interesting.
Oh yeah, throughout the world there are hundreds and hundreds of cryptids. And now this is where I get a bit more skeptical of it. Like you'll see jackalope is on there. Jackalope is a rabbit that had a fungal infection on its face.
Oh my gosh! Wait, now I understand, because see, up in Montana, when we were up there, Yellowstone, and through all that, the jackalope was a big thing. One store had the world's largest jackalope. They had a jackalope in
Oh
Wall,
yeah.
South Dakota, but they were just like bunnies with horns. We saw this on the news. If you saw the reports if on Twitter and even through news media, that there is something going out with these bunnies with tentacles or horns coming out of their faces. It's like really freaky looking, and I couldn't believe it. So I had to check the news sources, and they confirmed it. It's like, holy crap. Which also, when you start seeing stuff like this, how do you rule out what otherwise you would say is impossible? Because who would have ever thought to see a mutated bunny of that type? It was really freaky looking.
Now imagine if you have a little bit of whiskey in you, like some of the travelers across the Wild West, and they look
Yeah,
over. I dare say there is a rabbit over there with antlers sticking out of his head.
that was his mouth. At least the jackalopes have it on top of their head. This thing has got it. It's like, don't look at it late at night. You might get nightmares.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really
the
that
poor
freaky. It was
rabbit.
sad. Yeah, exactly. It's sad.
So there's some other creatures though that I think actually might be real. That is going to be very hard for us to discount one day. One of them is the thunderbird. I do believe the thunderbird is real. There have been sightings up here in Alaska, but apparently it lived across the entirety of the U.S. once upon a time.
Hmm.
Giant worms. I actually do believe giant worms actually might be real. Now, how big do they get? I don't really know. Giant pythons. Oh my goodness, there's some growing evidence that there are some big snakes out there. Dragons. Well, now suddenly you have to take dragons possibly as a serious reality. And that has a lot of people very anxious, has a lot of people excited, but a lot of people very anxious that those things might actually be real and the stories might be true.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, that comes to the end of the kind of background stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to be able to go through. The rest of it is a story, but I'm going to leave it to you to decide what you want to do at this point moving
Well,
forward.
we'll go into the story right after this. But if folks, if you have any questions, please feel free to share them. And don't tell Tina that she might be real. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see Tina tonight. We'd have a dragon in the chat here with this story. But yeah, it's share out the stream, folks, if you haven't already. Snorter Poopas, I know you did on X. Thank you so much. And Strings of Pucks, you got to jump. But hey, thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna have more. We'll have Jeff recount some of his stories. And folks, anybody else, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're still subscribed before you leave. And if you haven't, please consider giving us a subscription. And Strings and Pucks, you have a great night. And for that, for everybody else, if you have questions, please go ahead. Now's the time to put them in, whether we, so that we can ask him for Jeff and get him to attend, to look at them. So, all right. So let's see. I don't really see any in the comments. Jeff, what about you? What's going on with you though, Norm? Just in life and with your streaming stuff. We'll take a little break and then with this to let you break. But what's up with you? I know we talked about Twitch and how much is going on there or whatever. But just tell us about what's happened since the last time we've met.
So I got a couple of projects that are starting to come to their conclusion. There's, if I may, I can share a look at the website that I've been developing. Do you mind if I bring that up?
No, that's cool. That's okay. Yeah, your guest. You've asked. It's cool.
All right, I'm going to share this over here. So this is the okay. Let's see here. It should be. Let's see here. Try and reshare this here. Share screen, window, and there.
All right, here we go.
So this is the website I've been developing for a while. It's been about 2 years in the process, and it finally is functional to the point where I'm happy with it.
I noticed Devil's Tower. I noticed Devil's Tower and that whole Lakota legend about the bear climbing up, and they were on top of the tower. Yeah, sorry about that. I just
that's good that you recognize that. Very few people know about that story.
Oh yeah, we visited. It's one of the areas we visited on the way up to Wyoming.
This is something I've been working on in the background. It's a story about a man who goes west and has some fascinating adventures. The first story is nearing the end of its first draft, and then it goes into edits, and then I want to be able to put it out there for folks as soon as I can. But I've become super invested in the story. It has become a lot of fun to work on. This is one that is going to be a little bit sooner. Pharaoh and the Smith is a short parable. It is about a 20, 30-minute read, and that's going to be coming out to this website very soon. But this is a site that I've been slowly building up. The design is to try and share content in a way that other platforms would not allow me to. So if you want to be able to share some things that are related to having images or books or whatnot, you have the ability to share it on here. And so it's been a passion project of mine. But anyway, I just wanted to show that for a brief moment. That is Castercraft. That will be my main focus for projects moving forward into the future. And we'll see where it goes from there.
All righty.
But the streaming side has kind of been taken it has still been a mainstay of the stuff I've been doing throughout my week. It has been shifting, though. A lot of the content that goes on there now is related to building stuff for that site.
All right. Well, cool. Well, that's the latest of Jeff. Mrs. mentioned she's got a mini brick build of that Legend of the Devil's Tower. So it's really was interesting to see up in there. All right. Well, we can, I don't see any questions right now for it, but go ahead. We can move in the next part if you want to relay your story and we'll go with that. And we'll see if we get, folks, like I said, if you have any questions on the way from what we've talked about already or what he's about to talk about, go ahead and ask it and we'll cover it. And on that, well, back to you, Jeff.
All right. So let's see here. All right. So I got that that screen there. So when I was young, we were traveling a lot across the country, and spent a lot of time camping. And I was fairly familiar with the wilderness. Early on, though, we were traveling out around the Rockies, and I think we were in Colorado. Maybe it was Wyoming. It was hard for me to tell at that age. But we were in a big tent. The family was in there. We had our dog in there at the same time. And the wind was whipping outside. There was rain pelting the tent. And it was hard for me to be able to fall asleep. I finally did fall into a bit of a kind of a loose slumber, but I heard something and it caused me to wake up. And I look up and I see a shadow move across the top of the tent.
Mm.
And I think, that's weird. This is a big tent. There's 5 people in there and a dog. So you can imagine this is one of the more deluxe tents because it was the only one we could fit everyone in there.
We had one called the Taj Mahal that could fit so many people, but you gotta have comfort, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But because of that, I knew how tall that tent was. And I was like, how did a shadow pass over top of it? Because we were in an area that was a campsite. There was actually lamps around the area in order so that people, could get up in the middle of the night. So, but I hear this thing moving off. And so I unzip the tent and I'm trying to get the sleep out of my eyes because I didn't quite understand how to deal with it. I also was dealing with allergies. I didn't know it at the time, but my eyes were causing all sorts of problems. And it was very hard for me to make out whatever it was that I saw. I saw a silhouette, and I couldn't figure out how to describe it. All I could describe it as was something that was large, about twice the size of a man, and was bulky. To me, I thought I was dreaming. Now, this was back before I realized that I actually have very good senses, and I would hear stuff that the family would not hear. And then later on, they say, "Oh yeah, you just said that you saw that or you heard that." And so this was around the time where I started realizing I kind of was my ears were kind of like pricked for hearing things like this.
Mm-hmm.
But my eyes were my worst enemy that night. And it was very frustrating because by time I finally got my eyes to be able to see, because I was like, I could see there's something there. It's a bit blurry. I'm rubbing them, trying to get it open. I'm slapping myself. And I finally look and it's gone. And I thought, that's weird. And so all I can guess is whatever it was had moved off to the side. Well, I didn't think anything of it. I thought, well, I must have been dreaming that, or maybe there's something else that was going on. Maybe a person was walking there. I just misunderstood the size.
Right?
Too powerful problems. Yes,
Oh,
Jess,
gosh.
that is true.
Oh, yeah, you're super sensitive, I guess. Yes. Is it possible that anybody, maybe your dad had left the tent, or did you know that nobody had left the tent? Nobody was outside.
Everyone was in the tent, and but I kind of wrote it off. I didn't think anything of it for a long time.
Did you even tell your parents or anybody?
I did. I said there's something I saw in the night, and they're like, "Oh, well, there's nothing there. You must have been seeing something."
Yeah, because I tell you what, though,
trusting
like
child,
you
I
said,
believe them.
yeah, but that's the thing is your eyes don't deceive you. You see weird thing, and then it gets into your head, especially when you're a kid. I, as a kid, woke up it was Easter night, Easter Eve to Easter morning, and all that, stay in bed until the next day, all that stuff. But I swear I saw a bunny ear down the hallway, like sticking out of the kitchen, and all night I'm sitting there thinking the demented Easter bunny's there. And it's like,
no.
Yeah, it was, but see, it's one image and it got stuck in your head, and it, whether it's right, wrong, or not, it just runs with your mind and makes it a reality. Whether it's not or whether it's really true or not.
Well, a couple years later, I was in my mid-teens, and we were in Alabama. And the scout troop went up to the base of the Appalachian Mountains in order to have a camping trip in which we could earn as many merit badges as we possibly could.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
It was a man-made lake. There was a little stream that went through it there, but it was very obviously cut out to be kind of rectangular. I did find this area on Google Maps a while back because I wanted to verify that it was as my memory served, and it actually was almost exactly as I had imagined it. It was a little smaller, of course, because in my mind it seemed very big, and then I realized, oh, this thing's like kind of a minuscule area. But the one area that I do remember very vividly is this one patch of ground. Now, earlier in the day, I had been tasked to kind of told by my parents that I needed to earn more merit badges, and we were going to do a hiking merit badge. And so my dad is walking with us, and it's a group of kids, that are trying to get their hiking merit badge, and I'm falling behind. I'm a terrible hiker. I'm very slow. I get easily focused on things around me, and I kind of just want to investigate. And so I'm at the tail end, and everyone else is like, "Oh, come on, keep up. You're taking forever, Jeff. And we're out here because of you, and we need to be able to." My dad was not the one saying this. This was our scout leader, which was not a very good man.
Right.
So,
yeah.
like, we're out here because of you. We're like, well, what about these other kids? Well, no, forget them. But as I'm falling behind, I keep having this weird feeling like something is out there. And I keep looking behind. It's like, I have no idea what it is that I'm sensing. And all I can tell is that there's something very off-putting. And then we come to the end of the hike. Well, we come to the end of the hike out, and I look back, and I'm like, there's something back there, isn't there? And the scout master's like, no, there's nothing. You're just delusional. We walk back, and we then go to is evening. Stars were starting to come out, and we went out to do our merit badge for being able to map the stars.
Right.
Well, we're out there laying on the grass, looking up the sky. Well, one by one, the kids go back to the camp, which is just down this little path. There is a wall of kudzu on the trees, and so thus it's impossible to see through it. I assume you're quite familiar with kudzu, right?
The animal?
The plant.
No, the kudzu is an antelope, I think, out of Africa. I didn't realize there was a plant.
Yeah. So kudzu is interesting because it is a wall of ivy. And so it almost looks exactly as you see it right here on the left side.
Right. Okay.
It's a wall of greenery. It is taken over much of the South. Virginia is covered in this stuff, and Alabama was becoming quite covered in this as well. So you can't see through it. And we were going along. Me and the last kids were getting ready to go on back, and the adult said, "Hey, you guys go back. We're going to talk about something before heading on back." So we start on our way back, and we get halfway down the path when suddenly the wall of kudzu shakes above the height of a man. I was almost at my full height at that time. So I was about 6 feet at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was fairly tall, fairly lanky at the time. And we look up, and I realize this thing, that something very tall was behind there. And it growls and makes a sound that I have a very hard time trying to figure out what it was.
Taller than any of your scout directors or anybody?
Taller than anyone there. But it's just this wall of kudzu that starts moving. It's like 2 hands had gripped it and just started shaking it like a curtain.
Wow.
That caused us to freak out, scream, and go running down that path. And the whole time, this thing is running at pace with us behind this wall of kudzu in the forest. We get to the end of the path. We jump over this, over the barrier that was there, and land within the firelight of the camp. And we look back, and it will not come out of the kudzu. We hear it, and it turns around and leaves.
So
At that point,
not having
I was
time to get
freaked.
somebody to get out there to help, like one of
Yeah.
the directors. Wow. Yeah.
Well, the directors were all back at the open field. It was
Okay.
only the kids at the camp, and we were like, "Did any of you guys see that?" And they looked at us and they started laughing at us and they thought we were making a joke. We were. It was so startling, and I had
Hmm.
no understanding of what this thing could have been. I thought it was somebody playing a prank on us, but the height, I couldn't do it. I will not be sleep would not be sleeping that night. Well, see, when our scout leaders finally got back, they said, "Oh, it's probably you probably heard a fox. A fox shook the kudzu like that."
I could see one of them, but they'd have to be standing up on something higher and shake it at that height. But still, it's like, uh, but then again, if you knew that they weren't there, I don't know. That's yeah, wow. That's I got chills just hearing that one. So
Well, that was very tough for us to kind of write off. The other
yeah,
students decided that they were going to say, "Oh well, no, no, it was obviously one of the other kids pranking us." I'm like, "You guys do remember how big this thing was, right?" And so we had no idea what it was, and scout leaders are saying we're a bunch of nonsense. So we finally go to bed, and I fall asleep, and because I've been hiking all day, and so I just crashed. We woke up in the morning, and scout leader came up to the tent and said, "Hey guys, stay in here. Don't come out just yet." That's weird. And so I'm trying to look out of the tent. I can't see anything because the tent's facing the wrong way. But I do see that there's a cooler that is broken on the ground, and there's some of the scout leaders are standing around it. Well, somebody had left in the middle of the night. The kid and their dad just picked up and left. No real understanding as to what or why. And we finally go out, and they're like, "Oh well, a bear came into the camp and broke into the cooler. Maybe it was a bear you guys heard last night." Interesting. But anyway, I wrote it off, and I thought, obviously, there's something else going on here. Everyone says I'm crazy, so maybe I am. I didn't know what to do other than to just accept what the adults were saying.
hmm
Well, now I had two stories, both of them in my youth, and I couldn't figure it out. And so I just let it lie.
hmm
And this is the last story here. A couple of years later, I'm now a young adult, and I finally have the ability to kind of stand up for myself, to be able to make my voice heard, you could say, and no one wants to hear my voice. So I become kind of a bit of an outcast. And so people would be around a fire having good fun, and I would not really be all that welcome because I kind of speak a little too much.
Yep.
Well, we went out to visit in the mountains of Idaho. And there was an area where the family pulled up the trailer, set it up, and there was folks that were in a tent that you will see down here towards the bottom. Then there's a yurt, newly built yurt. And you'll notice on the far right, there's a little structure over there. That is an outhouse. If you needed to relieve yourself, you had to walk. I think the distance was actually like over 300 feet, maybe 400 feet away from the building.
hmm Right.
And so you couldn't really see the outhouse from where you were. It was down the hill a little bit. There's brush around it, kind of hard to see. But we became quite familiar with this area. There was a ravine to the top, a ravine to the bottom, the road that went off on the perpendicular to the property,
hmm
and everyone was talking around the campfire. And I was really kind of wanting to see a mountain lion. I had heard that mountain lions were in the area, and I wanted so badly to see one. I have always had a fascination with big cats. And I thought, well, there's never really going to be a chance to see a big cat again for many years because we were going back east. And so I just want to look for one.
Pins at night for the missus.
Um, giant fox would not comfort. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
I wonder
um,
if she's going to change her mind on camping these days after these stories.
I have a statement to say about camping after this one.
Okay.
So everyone was camping, was around the campfire, having a conversation, and the conversation went south. There was arguing. All I knew was that people were very upset. I couldn't tell what it was. I wasn't really paying attention to that. All my senses were focused on trying to find a mountain lion because I had thought I heard something, and so I went to the northern part of the area and started looking out, trying to find out if there was a creature out there. I turned back around to kind of ask, "Hey, you said that there are mountain lions out here, right? Do you know if they come to this particular property?" I was trying to interject and make my voice heard, and like, no, we don't want you to hear you talking about mountain lions or whatnot. And they kind of went back to their discussion. I turned back around, and my light fell on a bush that I had gone over many times, but I had heard something, and now I saw yellow eyes looking out.
Oh boy!
I thought, oh, mountain lion. I got all excited. I like, hey, guys, there's a mountain lion over there. But I looked back and it was gone. Dag nabbit. I moved the light just... Now it got away. Well, there goes my chance to see a mountain lion. Well, I turn back around and go back to the campfire because I can tell everyone's very upset still. And I go back to... because they don't want to hear me talking about mountain lions anymore because they're like, just shut up. And there's no mountain lions out here. Stop being all worried about it. Well, I heard something again, and I hear a sound going along the roadside over here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, folks, I kind of feel like whatever it is moving over there. How many times have we got to tell you? There's no mountain lions out here. There's no bear. Yes, they live out here, but you're not going to see them. Case closed.
Yeah.
And then we hear what I can only describe as a screaming roar. It was loud. It was thunderous. And all of us look into the darkness. There is no moon that night. This is all we, so to speak, kind of see. Yes, the trailer's out there. I didn't want to put a trailer out there. Graphic was going to take too long. But this is basically what we see. And we hear this scream come from there. And
wow.
The sound of heavy pistons. Thump, 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 as this creature goes running past the trailer down into the ravine below. Everyone's eyes were locked on it. We knew exactly where it was, even though it was pitch black. We can tell exactly where this thing is as it's moving past. And I run over with the flashlight, trying to shine it down, trying to see what it is. I can't see it. It's gone. It was so fast. It had already gone out of view. Well, we called it quits at that point, and they said, well, it's time to go to bed. People went to the tent. People went to the yurt. We went to the camper. And I instinctively just grabbed the axe and carry it with us because I'm like, I don't know what good this axe is going to do me, but, I better have something.
Yes. You grab anything you can that could use as a weapon.
Well, I put it next to the camper because parents won't allow me to take it inside. And I'm on the lower bunk, and there's a window right there. And all I can do the whole night is stare out the window.
Yep.
And I keep freaking out. I keep thinking it's something, whatever this thing is going to suddenly look through the window. I still don't even have a face to what this thing is. But I have the sound embedded in my mind.
Yeah.
And, well, thankfully, nothing happened for that night. Daytime came around. We went out to investigate, and there were no footprints. The place was dry as can be.
Wow.
And so no footprints were preserved. But there were some rocks that were kind of thrown about a little bit, as if something big had gone through the area. Well, I didn't know what to call it, so I thought that it was a bear chasing a moose. Why? Well, because there was a piston sound, kind of like what happens when a moose is running.
Oh, I thought it was because we blame the bears for everything.
Yep.
But,
but the sound of the bears, because it was crashing through the wilderness. And only a bear is that careless as it goes running through the area. Sorry, Snorted.
Which is just amazing that you don't see footprints or anything else like that.
Mm-hmm. But then there's the scream. I thought, what is that? What in tarnation is going to make that sound? I'm very familiar with the wilderness at this point. And for years, I was like, I can't put heads or tails on this. It wasn't until college that I suddenly realized that there was a creature that fit all those descriptions, that toys with people, that towers over a tent and has a roaring scream and does bluff charges. All those things fit the description of a Sasquatch. That's how I came to that conclusion, that I actually had not one, not two, but 3 experiences. And there's one that might have been a 4th, but I can't tell for certain. But we're in the wilderness all the time. I do not think these things are super rare. I think a lot of times we write it off as being something else, or it messes with us and we just jump to the conclusion. I don't go camping, and I definitely don't go camping by myself because of this.
I would imagine with stories like that. And you said something earlier about having somebody posted for guard duty.
Yes, always have somebody posted for guard duty. Because if something like this were to happen, some of the stories are that people disappear in the middle of the night. Now, some people say it could be because of mountain lions, which, by the way, they do hunt that way. Sometimes people go wandering off. Sometimes you have very unsavory people that come along.
Yeah.
This stuff does happen. And I don't view camping as like going into your backyard. It's the wilderness.
Yeah.
And you have to have a respect for the wilderness. And that means you have to be wise with your camping. I have no problem camping, but I want people to abide by the rules that people throughout millennia have done. Having someone post as watch, and to always have that person armed, because you don't know what you're going to encounter. And it's best to have the precaution about that. And most people treat the wilderness and camping almost like it's almost like they're going down to a city park. And then when you encounter something like this, you're like, I don't think I want to go walking 400 feet by myself to the outhouse.
Nope.
I don't know if I want to be saying, hey, I'm just going to go behind this building and just kind of take in the beautiful starry sky. Because there are some stories out there where that's the last time that somebody saw that person.
Yep.
And unfortunately, when I was young and I had the experience in Alabama.
No, that one, yeah, definitely.
I think it was looking for kids. So I'm very nervous about that sort of stuff. I will never take a family out into the wilderness because of this. Not without a whole lot of precautions. Yeah. I don't want them to be scared of the wilderness. I want them to be wary. I want them to be wise.
Right.
But that's my argument as to why this creature exists and why personally I'm convinced.
Well, very compelling, very interesting, very, very real stories. And Jeff, thanks for sharing all that. Folks, if y'all got any questions, go ahead and do that. Man, we've been an hour and a half, but thanks, Jeff, for updating for the case of it. Because like I said, I've only had a few little TV references, things like that. It's really not talked about because it's been stigmatized with conspiracy theories and black helicopters and aliens and stuff like that. When in serious recounts or serious, people that are coming off serious or just get ignored or set to the side, and it's hard to actually find the truth of something if that's what you're going to do. So, and Snort Poopa said it is very interesting. Yes, thank you, Jeff. This is so great. Now I'm going rethinking my camping trips. LOL. But we do say in very civilized camping areas. We don't play like the real wilderness, like the primitive camping and things like that. But yeah, still. But you always have to be careful out in the woods, and you have to really respect it. And is respect all of nature, really.
Well, I think that's one of the big takeaways, which is, I think, the most important thing to consider. The wilderness is going to always be wild.
Mm-hmm.
And we have become very soft as a culture. And so if something were to happen, most people don't even have like the understanding of how to use like a firearm to fire 3 rounds into the air to say, hey, I got a problem.
Right.
And if you expect like, well, why don't people take more video? Why don't people maybe have their wits about them? Why do people seem to act so crazy? When you hear a creature that shakes the ground and lets off a sound that you can't put a face to, I tell you what, if that were charging at you, you wouldn't have the thought to pull up a camera.
Right.
You wouldn't have a
Right.
thought to pull up a firearm.
You're just trying to
You would
survive.
be
Yeah.
freaked out.
Yep. Stunned. Yeah. Exactly. And like Snorter Poopa said, just ignore all the stories about a polar bear frightening people in Publix. He loves his Publix. And Mrs. Like said, though, unfortunately, where we camp does not allow firearms. That's your public camping areas. It's very difficult to tell you this. But yeah, you're right. That is the way it is. People can't, they're not trained, or, really the rules and laws prevent people from having that. Because honestly, I think you should always be armed out in the thing, because like if you camp at Disney, it's one thing. Maybe like in some places where there's enough civilization, but some of those campgrounds, yeah, you got to watch out even for the two-legged people, the humans out there, up to no good either. I do think. Oh, she said I'd be trying not to crap myself. Yeah, that's the normal reaction. But you know what? Sort of, I call it snort poopas, but Bigfoot is the hiding champ. Still, in spite of all this, he avoids the camera, avoids all the people. Which means he's the uh, hiding champion. Because even Waldo is trying to see, hey, dude, what's your secret?
That's good.
It's too funny. So, File 13 said, had some crap happen in southern Georgia on our land. Now, of course, not going to say it was a biggie, but I don't know what it was. You don't know what yeah, in the dark and everything else, you don't know. It's easy to be attributed that it's this or that, but it's, all you know is big and it's scary. That is very interesting. So, but yeah, thanks for sharing that account too, File 13. Glad to have everybody here that's been here tonight. Oh gosh, here's a good one you'll appreciate, Jeff. It was the noise he couldn't figure out. It was very hog-like. Wow. Yeah, because especially South Georgia, North Florida, they've got feral hogs running around, but making a lot of noise, destroying a lot of stuff. But you never know; it could have been bigger. You never know. And so, what did you say the scream sounded like again? The one when you heard the scream,
a roaring scream.
Now, was it the same in all 3 cases?
No, the first one was just a visual.
Right.
The second one was grunting in almost like laughter. It was but that one is a very interesting one, because I've heard stories of the Southeast where whatever is that this actually might be a subspecies of some kind, or it might be something else entirely. But it is something where it does seem to toy with people, kind of like how chimps will do that. I don't know for a fact what it was. I never got to see it. All I know is that it had a glee with trying to mess with people. And it had strength to be able to break that cooler. And 2 people left in the middle of the night. And I don't know what for For what reason? What if they heard something like, nope, that's it, we're out?
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
know. But all I know is that I got a chance to experience things in that have left me very open to the possibilities. And I'm somebody who originally did not want to acknowledge stuff like that. I thought of myself as being like, oh, I'm going to always seek the truth. I'm going to be as level headed as possible. And I come across something like that. I'm like, there are mysteries. And
Hmm.
the one thing I will say is that's why I don't want to say it. This is a monster. I don't want to say that it's like a portal creature or aliens. It's an animal. And I want to try and find the animal behind the myth because
Hmm.
that's where I think we'll find the truth. Because if you think of it as an ape that is carrying out very ape-like behaviors, has the intelligence, the strength, and the kind of personality of one, why couldn't it just be a combination of those things? And then one day we'll look back on it and say, oh, yeah, that was back when people didn't understand that they were actually living among a bunch of big, hairy apes.
Right.
We'll look back on it and say, it was everywhere. How did people not know? The only reason why
Denial.
we get worried
Yeah.
is because it is a dangerous creature. That's what makes this such a touchy subject.
Right. Exactly. Especially the fear of the unknown. Uh, not only not knowing what it is, but then if it's scary, it becomes a boogeyman, and people like their boogeyman, and it draws attention with that element of fear. So
There was
I
a
get.
story where a kid was looking out his window.
Uh-huh.
This was out in, I think, Texas. And he was very young, and he went up to his mother in the morning and said, um, who's the man with the linking log teeth? And the mother looked at him and was like, what are you talking about? The man with the Lincoln log teeth. He's been keeping me company in the night. And we've been playing games. And the mother got very panicked. She's like, what is going on here? There was a creature that was coming to the family's window every night and was toying with this kid, doing funny faces and like playing with the sticks outside. And the kid was young and thought that it was a man with Lincoln log teeth. When I hear stories like that, it's hard to be able to say for sure if it's true or not. But
Mhm.
it is something where people have experiences like that and then they get very nervous to want to tell them. For
Right.
me, I'm very open about it because I don't want it to be a monster. I want us to understand that there's a creature here. I want to understand why it behaves that way.
Absolutely. I can. Yeah, I can tell. Not everybody can be making this stuff up, especially when it's coming from kids. I think actually a lot of times you can believe the kids better before the adults.
Kids
Because
haven't
there's
learned how to
fear.
hunt for clout yet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, and hey, Izzo's plays. Sup, Florida. Sup, Alaska. Hi from Ohio. All right. Good to see you tonight, Izzo's place. So we're about to wrap up. So hopefully you go back and watch what we have here tonight. I got one more little meme here for this. And now that everyone has a camera on their phone, no one wants to take pictures of him anymore. This is
So
what you think. Yeah.
there's a photo of Sasquatch. I did not share it because it's a very hard one to be able to tell. Um, but it's discounted because it's super blurry. And the
Right.
person said, well, I couldn't hold my hands stable because I was so scared.
Yeah.
Well, if you're taking a low light photo, of course it's going to end up being a blur
Yeah.
because it's going to be so hard to get that. You need a really powerful flash to really get that photo, which is why I showed the photo earlier of the
Mm-hmm.
creature where it kind of looks a bit ghostly, because that's one of the best flash photos we have of it.
It says place said if I had experience, I'd shout it out. Cousin-in-law had a Yeti rock throwing crappy experience that lines up with other accounts.
Mm.
Creepy, not crappy. Okay, it could be. Mrs. said earlier she'd be trying to not crap herself. So crappy, creepy, either one could probably interchange right there. So, but have you heard a lot more of other people with stories like this personally, Jeff?
Yes, there's actually a guy in Florida. He was fishing, and he could see that there was a creature that was following him in the shallows. It was staying behind the reeds, And he was staying nice far and away. And then he started seeing these giant rocks being thrown at him. They were splashing all around him, and he was like, "If one of those hits me, I'm dead." But it wasn't trying to hit him; it was trying to scare him off. There's another one where mountaineers were getting pelted with rocks. Another one where there is miners where their cabin is just getting pummeled with stones. So yeah, it's a very real threat from these creatures.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so many accounts and they line up. I mean, people can't be coordinating like that to that extent to, you know, answer for all the smoke that's out there. So,
Well, I hope that this gave people a chance to start to consider that there might be a
oh,
logical
here we
reason how
go.
this thing could exist.
Yeah, Izzo saying she was on her bike, so the rocks were smaller, and yeah, seemed like a scare off thing. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I actually heard a story very similar to that where someone was on a bike and they were going through the wrong area. And yeah, it's very possible. That is something that apes will do in other parts of the world. So why not here?
And the missus said this is fascinating, and thank you for the information. So, absolutely,
Glad to
it's been a
contribute.
wonderful time. Absolutely, that's a great stream, Jeff. Any last thoughts on the topic, or you want to anything you want to conclude overall with this final thought?
I want to say it, the main takeaway is to kind of to reiterate there are mysteries in this world. It's not meant to be terrifying. It's meant to make us curious. But we also need to be wise and not just assume that the world is completely known. We might make a very terrible mistake if we just assume that we understand everything. Just like how a person who comes across a wildcat, they know not to get anywhere close. They know to turn around and walk away. I feel like we need to have the same sort of understanding of this creature because I do think that people do get hurt. And if we just sweep it under the rug, and then other people will continue to get injured. Be safe in the woods, be wise in the woods, study the woods, and maybe this creature's not something to be scared of in the way that our culture has made it out to be.
Well, still, it's always a fearful, especially when you hear growls and stuff like that. But thank you, Izzo. Yeah, don't have time to rewind all the streams, but this one is a must rewatch. We appreciate that. Definitely go back. Jeff has a lot of good graphics and stories, and it's really interesting with the history, the legends, and everything else. Like we talked about some of the legends, you know, like dragons in the European and the British Isles. I mean, and we've seen the talk about the tooth found in Scotland. We've got so many other cases around the world where things could be exist, and that they find stuff in these remote areas that were thought to be extinct, and they're no longer extinct or not even endangered because they have their own ecosystems and where they're at. And Mrs. said we have to respect nature, yes, and nighty night. So,
Night,
Jeff,
Mr. Bear.
any last thought? Here we're going to here's the channel again. If you want to promote what you've got coming up, how often do you stream?
Mostly it's towards the later half of the week. Typically it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm trying to throw the other days back in there. Most of it's art nowadays, mostly with Castercraft, which is the main focus. So there's not a whole lot on castercraft.net yet, but it is something that I really look forward to sharing with you folks. And there's some stories that I hope are as impactful to folks as it kind of feels like right now. I'm really enjoying writing them, and hopefully people will enjoy reading them one day. Maybe we'll turn some of them into audio dramas too.
Okay, well there you go, and thank you for that link. For that, buddy, for putting that link in there earlier.
Everyone is very aware of that big meeting that's taking place. There's a lot of mystery about what's happening.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, which part of Alaska? Where's it at? You'll know if there's a lot of people around where there's not normally.
There's going to be no people around. Probably it's very secretive right now. Nobody knows anything as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah,
nothing's been passed on to me. But then again, I'm low on that totem pole.
Izzo said, "Ooh, I want to do a live stream by a stream." There you go. That's a good thing. That will
Actually,
always work.
there's one other thing I want to bring up. There's a guy that has come to the streams a couple times. I've gone over to his as well. We've not done any sort of dual streams. It's more like just being in each other's chats. But he's a native Alaskan who is up towards the center of the state, and he came across a legend that is really fascinating. That's probably better for another time. But one of the things he came across were gigantic footprints. And it turns out his culture actually has some myths that kind of line up with a Sasquatch. And that's way up higher in the state than I ever would have thought this creature could live. But this thing's a carnivore, which means that it has the ability to dwell in areas that most apes don't have the ability.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Like you said, we had to do another stream for stuff because there's just so much out there. So, all right, let's see what here. Jess put a link out. Thanks to know about the historic meeting in Anchorage. Okay, well, I guess they just named. That makes sense. It's probably the biggest open city to be able to do at the Joint Base. Yeah.
Yeah, the Joint Base is definitely where you want to have it. That's also a show of force. The military base up here is very big, and it is, in my opinion, one of the crown jewels of the U.S. military.
Well, that will be interesting to see. So I guess it is sometime, probably in about, I guess it's tomorrow, which is 3 hours from now on this side. A few more hours for you. So, but hey, it will be interesting. And let's hope that they get something done, because I have a friend in Russia that is actually hearing the explosions going. Ukraine is doing its stuff ahead of this meeting, which is like poking a bear. I don't get into politics very often, but I'm a big proponent. If you want peace, you act like you want peace. You don't provoke. But there's a lot there. There's a lot of people. And you know what? And we're going to go on a little different tangent right now, Jeff, for a moment. And Jess has put some of these things. What is scaring me is the idea of military drones. And not just military drones, but, in World War II, one of the biggest weapons of terror. Now, they turned out not to be so effective at the end because the U.S. military, the Navy, got so big that they could absorb the losses. But if you're those sailors on those ships, the death, the injuries, and all that. But the idea of kamikaze drones now, like even going into civilian buildings. I've got, like I said, I got a friend in Russia that's hearing this going off. I know people in Ukraine here probably have the same thing. But, when you see things and they shut down airspaces and stuff, it brings the reality of war.
In the open field, like just trying to run from them. And it's like the thing's toying with them.
Yeah, almost like you're Sasquatch in a way, And they're hard to hit because they're usually small. And although I've seen EMP weapons used to knock them out. So let's just pray for a good resolution tomorrow and going forward that things will settle down. And
absolutely.
There will always be war, unfortunately, with the world we're in. But, when you see and talk to people that are actually around it and live in it, it brings a reality to it. It's not just some game on TV or a movie. It is actually real life out there. So, and yeah,
you must always make sure to have value for the human life that you are engaging. Yes, you will have to wage that war, but if you have a concern for their well-being, you will be willing to put down that weapon when the time comes. And we need some more people that are willing to do that.
Absolutely. All right. And of course, Mrs., thank you for coming and being here for so much. I hope you have a good night's rest with Mom. And remember, Mrs. will be live at 10 o'clock in the morning for a Crafty Corner diamond painting. It won't be a regular morning show, but hey, she'll be live doing her diamond painting, and hopefully y'all can make it for that. And hell to West Cagle. Hey, West, right at the end, you're going to have to go back and watch this one, dude. We appreciate you being here tonight. And actually, in terms of my lineups, next week is in flux again with our Monday through Wednesday streams. Actually, Tuesday I will have to do it, because Tuesday night with Sports with JT will be our Big Ten championship, Big Ten college football season preview. He'll be the focus, talking about the action out of the Big Ten, projections there, and what he sees there. We'll be having some talk on that topic. Monday with Doers just probably not likely. It depends on, I might be with Mom. And then Wednesdays, 8 p.m. with Wes Cagle. These are normal standard channel programs. We've had to be a little flexible based on things like that. So, and I do not have a stream next Thursday, but currently scheduled for next Friday night at 8 is 6. You may know the name around YouTube. She's always in a lot of different streams, chats, and stuff. But 6 will be with me, and we'll do a chilling with her on a Friday night at 8 o'clock. And I love what Buddy said, big Kegel sighting. Of course, we don't have north, south, or east Kegel here yet either. So that's kind of cool. But hey, remember, prayers for the whole world, what we're going through. Make sure you're safe and secure when you go camping. And everybody, you rest well and have a great night. And thank you, everybody that's been here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. And, before I do this, I just realized, wow, we got up to 18 likes. And a lot of people coming through.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. But I'm going to tell everybody right now, I'm going to put this link in the chat. I almost put it in the wrong chat. I almost put it on a different channel. Let's see. Our friend Figgy Plays is live now. A very late stream for her, playing Grounded 2. So go over there and say hello to her. Let's see. Say hi. I can't type and talk, Jeff, no matter what I do. Oh,
No
see,
worries.
there's West Cagle, North Cagle. There you go. So, and there's the link for Figgy. If y'all don't mind, just go see Dabman right over there. North Cagle has seen a few Sasquatch before. Yeah, up in the Great Land of Canada. Oh, Jess. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. So I will definitely, and I hope everything's good with you, your mom up there, and tell you one of the greatest, nicest people you ever get to meet over the internet is Jess here, folks. I love it when she says, Dad man, your left. No, Dad man, your other left. Dad man, right behind you. It's just like my wife talking. They both, it's like, geez, it's crazy. So, all right. So here, like I said, go, no, not the dreaded Sims. No, not the Sims, but she's playing Grounded 2. So on that note, folks, everybody go to say hi to the great Figgy Plays, and we will see you Monday, hopefully. If not, I might be random sometime this weekend. Have a good night all, and we will catch you later. I almost left the studio. I got to end the stream. Got to hit the right red button. Bye all. Oh, no,
Ciao, folks.
It's not. Oh, God, I'm trying to do the Russian accent. Comrade, it's not the red button on that sort. Anyway, all right. Bye, everybody. Catch you later. And have fun. Bye, all.